Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to look a little bit more into microphone technique for you as a podcaster, especially if you're starting out or you have bought a new microphone and you're not sure if you're using it right. Microphone technique is probably one of the most important skills you're going to learn as a podcaster. And it also impacts you if you're a video podcaster as well. I find that video podcasters focus more time on the video quality than the audio quality. And it shows, and you can hear the difference. So we all need to focus more on how we show up on the mic and what we sound like. And right off the top, let me just say that you can buy the most expensive microphone that you can find online or in the store. That's not going to guarantee that you're going to sound any better. A microphone price tag is not going to make you sound like $1 million. You can spend $1 million, well, maybe not. You can spend a lot of money on a microphone, but it's not going to guarantee you the best sound. The microphone I'm using right now, I bought on Amazon for $50 US, $80 Canadian with, how money is in Canada. Everything costs more. And it's interesting because this mic has lasted me for over 2,000 episodes. It's a USB mic. It plugs directly into my computer. I don't need a in-between box that takes my mic and translates it into computer. No, it just plugs right in, and it's $50. And I have a $15 cover that goes over the mic to handle the plosives, and it's kind of looks like a spit screen that would cover you from spitting on the food by accident at a buffet. That kind of thing. It just blocks the microphone. So I had a question about somebody reached out to me that had bought a new mic and they noticed that it did not sound anywhere close to what they had before, even though they spent some good money on this mic. They're like, well, why is this? So I want to kind of talk about 4 ways and 4 steps to reduce plosives and sibilance when you're recording your vocals. This is going to help you to improve the quality of your audio for your podcast, your voiceovers, or any vocal recordings that you do. 4 things you can do with a brand new mic or the mic that you have to help you sound better on the mic. And it's all around mic technique and knowing how to use this thing properly. So in the past, I've talked about the fact that think of your microphone like a flashlight. Just like a flashlight, you'd never shine it directly into your eyes. You can't see anything. Well, you'd blind yourself, right? Just by the light blasting in your eyes, right? So you want to make sure that the mic is not shooting you directly in the face. That's where a lot of problems start, is how the mic is placed. Now, some of you have a mic that sits on a desk, and you talk in its general direction, and it picks up. Some of these mics pick up in a circle, like think of like around the world. It picks up in all directions at once. So that means it's picking up things you don't want. And sometimes the microphone is on the other side of what you're talking into. So take a glass of water. It works best if you drink from the top of the glass where the opening is. It doesn't work so great if you try to drink from the bottom because that's not how cups work. Microphones also have a direction. So sometimes what I see people doing is they're talking into the wrong end of the mic, which is like writing with the eraser of your pencil. It's not meant to work that way. It's supposed to write with the lead of the pencil, correct? Yes. So it's all about how you use the mic, and you need to figure out what is the best way to use your mic. The one thing you got to know too is the microphones are different in that sometimes they pick up right directly as you look into the mic. Sometimes they pick up in more of a figure 8 pattern around the microphone. Sometimes they pick up in totally around the mic. There's a lot of different ways, and that's just talking about the polarity about how the microphone captures sound. So you need to know how that works for your mic. What I always suggest to people when they're using mics is to practice. Don't practice in front of your guest. Don't practice in a live recording or an actual thing that matters, but practice on your own when you have time to get used to what your mic sounds like. I've played with my mic a few times over the years to find out a spot that works for me. And the beauty for me is I have a recording setup where I just come, sit down, turn the computer on, and hit record. I don't have to set everything up, tear everything down. That's a disadvantage. For me, I just sit down and I sit in the same spot every time. which gives me a pretty well consistent sound episode to episode. So when I record tomorrow, I'm sitting in the exact same spot. My mic's on a stand away from my desk, and it's always in the same location. I just sit down and talk. So I get a pretty consistent recording from episode to episode, which is a good advantage. My microphone is not pointed directly in my face. It's actually pointed across my mouth. So if I was able to put like a laser pointer on the end of it and drive my cat nuts with a laser pointer, it's kind of pointing past me from the right side of my face across my mouth, pointing off to the left of me. So I'm actually talking across my microphone. It's kind of on the side of my face. It's about a hand width away from me, from the right side of my mouth to the microphone, but not directly pointed at me. It's pointed past me, like I'm going to walk through it. Kind of like, when you did the cologne back in high school and you'd spray it and then you'd walk through it. That's kind of what I'm doing with my mic. It's pointing away from me and I'm talking through it, like I could walk past it. It's going to hit me in the ear if I walked right past it right now. So I talk past my mic, which alleviates a lot of the problems that people reach out to me and say, Dave, like my P's and my B's and K's and T's, they just hit the mic like a ton of bricks. Or I sound like a snake with my S's. I get this weird sound and it goes all the way through my podcast. It's just so annoying. Like, how do I get rid of this? So we're going to talk about your sibilance. That's that S snake sound, right? And your plosives, your P's, your B's, your T's, your K's. They hit the microphone in a very unique way, which really can be quite exhausting for your audience over a period of time. And what I find, some mics, your microphone has to be like 2 or 3 fingers away from your mouth. So you're basically swallowing the mic when you talk. Like it's right up in your face. And I can tell who's using a mic and what type of mic and how close it is to their mouth just by listening. I don't even need to see. I know what mic you're using pretty much by how you sound because you're so close to it. It's like your face is rubbing against it. So that's not what I do. My mic is away from my mouth. So let's talk about the fact that we need, depending on no matter what mic you have, my suggestion, number 1, is to use a windscreen or a pop shield.
Check 1, sibilance.
So a phone windscreen or pop shield is a effective way of, and an affordable way to limit and reduce the amount of hard P's and sharp S's that come through your mic when you're recording. A foam windscreen fits directly over the microphone, kind of like when you put a sock on your foot. It goes over the end of the microphone, and it's usually made of foam. And what it does is it reduces the plosives significantly and may slightly reduce the higher frequencies, those S's. A pop shield is a fine mesh, generally for me, mine's a circle, that is in between myself, my voice, and the microphone. It's kind of this in-between person, between that, right? Fills in the gap. This is a way to reduce plosives while retaining more high frequencies than a foam windscreen. So I prefer a pop shield over a foam windscreen. Just so you know, again, the foam windscreen reduces the high frequencies and a pop shield doesn't reduce those higher frequencies as much. You're going to hear people who have like really thick foam microphone covers on their microphones because they're going to sound like radio people, really deep, and really they sound like they're in your head and almost like too boomy, almost. I don't appreciate it. I don't like doing it. I don't like listening to it for extended lengths of time. So I purposely don't have a foam cover on my microphone so that I sound so bassy and not so realistic. You'll hear people on radio, like radio hosts that you're used to over time, when they call into their own show, maybe they're calling remote or they're sick for the day and they call into their own show, they do not sound like themselves on the radio because they don't have that boomy sound they have in studio when they call in on their phone. You'll hear the difference. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's not even the same person. That's what I'm getting away from. For me and my show, if you met me in person, I'm going to sound the same in front of you that I do sitting right here recording this. So for me, I love a pop shield over a windscreen. Your choice. Do what works for you. Every voice is different. Every voice is like a fingerprint or a snowflake. They're all unique. There's only yours, and no one else has your voice. So you need to figure out what works for you. But for everyone, choose between a windscreen or a pop shield. I think that should be mandatory for all people on the mic, especially if you're having trouble kind of working through the sounds that come through and you're not happy with the results. The second part is increase the distance from your microphone.
Check 2, sibilance.
Some mics are going to require you to be right up on it. You're basically like your lips are touching the mic because that's how they work. Now, the mic I have, again, $50 microphone, I don't need to be right up on it. If I got right up on my mic, it'd be like, can you back off a little bit? Because you're like in my head. So I like to increase the distance of it. And again, it comes through practice and trials and figuring it out. But moving a few inches away from the microphone can also help to reduce the impact of the plosives and the sibilance that your mic picks up on. When you're a close proximity, emphasizes low frequency plosives, so maintaining some kind of distance will really help to mitigate this effect for you. And this technique works especially well for condenser microphones, but maybe a little less effective for certain dynamic microphones, which often sound best at close range. Okay, so wait a minute. Dave, hold on. What's a condenser microphone and what's a dynamic microphone? Okay, let's just take a little side tangent and we'll go into this as well. Here we go. So what are the differences between a condenser mic and a dynamic mic? A condenser mic are usually more sensitive and capture a wider frequency range. It makes them really good for a studio recording where detail and nuance are very important. They require external power. They need to be a powered source and to operate, and they typically are more delicate, so they're better suited for controlled environments. So if you can't control your environment, a condenser mic might not be for you. Really good inside of a studio. A dynamic microphone, these things are more rugged and they handle loud sounds really well. It makes them ideal for a live performance or noisy environments. They don't require external power and are generally less sensitive to subtle sound details, but they excel at capturing strong, focused sounds without picking up much in the background noise. So to give some more clarity too, just so you understand and get a visual of what I'm trying to say, placing these two microphones in situations that you're like, oh, okay, I get it. So a condenser mic, again, commonly used for recording vocals in a music studio. So where you see the artist in a studio, sound treated, sound totally dead room, headphones on, they got a music stand and they're singing into a mic or speaking into a mic, doing an audiobook in a recording studio. This is where they do really well. And an example of a well-known condenser mic would be like a Neumann U87. So these would be like these super expensive, this mic stays in the building type microphone. You don't take this home with you. A dynamic mic, more like a Shure SM58, this would be for live vocals on stage. So if you go watch any artist, Taylor Swift, Guns N' Roses, anybody that does something live, that microphone that you see them swinging around or pointing out at the crowd to sing back, and that mic, that's a dynamic microphone. This is good for that high sound pressure without distortion. Perfect for live performances where there is background noises present, but the mic is still pretty indestructible and pretty good for that type of setting. Okay, so one is more in studio and one is more live. So that'll give you an idea, just so you get a visual of what these mics look like and how they're used.
Check 1, sibilance.
So this third part around how we can adjust for the plosives and the sibilance goes around our mic technique on how we adjust how we pronounce our plosives. So my encouragement to you as a speaker on mic is to consciously soften your plosives, such as a P or a B, while you're actually recording. So again, if you take your hand and put it in front of your face and do a typical B or P word and talk into your hand when your hand's about an inch from your face, and feel the power of those P's and B's. Those P's, you can feel the air touch your fingers as you say it. Now, if you can purposely kind of divert that P or B, maybe more to the side of your mouth than straight on out of your mouth, so your P's kind of go off to the side a little bit and your B's go off to the side, just kind of move your bottom lip a little bit to the left or to the right, and then still say that letter and that word, P and B. You can feel that you're moving the air away from the mic. That's an easy way for you to make adjustments on the fly so that you're not hitting the mic with all of your power, with all that air pressure coming out for those words. Little subtle changes like this in your articulation can minimize the plosive effect naturally. Also works with your S's. So try to be as clear as you can and slow down when you're talking. Because sometimes when we speak faster, our words start to fill together and we don't have as much control over our tongue because our brain is faster than our tongue. So slowing down might be one way for you to help you adjust for your S's. And that's your sibilance. That's that snake sound. The last part, and we kind of talked about this already, but is the angle of your microphone and keeping it off axis.
Check 2, sibilance.
So off axis just generally means, like we said, not pointing it directly into your face, into the line of fire for your voice and the sounds and the air pressure coming from your mouth. Turn the microphone slightly away from your mouth as a speaker, either to the side or towards the nose or down towards your chest. This can help reduce some of those high frequencies and control some of those sharp S sounds. Be cautious with dynamic microphones as they may not be able to handle this off-axis positioning as well as a condenser microphone, potentially altering the sound quality of your voice. So again, this goes back to playing. And my suggestion, and I've heard this from many sources, and it's a great idea, is to, for example, open Audacity or GarageBand, set up your mic one way, and then just talk to the recording and then tell your recording where your microphone is. So my microphone is now at the right-hand side of my face. It's about one hand width away from my face, pointing from the right of my head across my face to the left of my head. And now the microphone is down on my chest. And now the microphone is at the top of my head. And just move yourself around, but say what you're doing to the mic. And then listen back to it and pick the one that sounds the best. And set the mic to what you'd said during the recording. It's a great way to capture what sounds best to you and hear it. And then you're explaining to yourself how you set up your mic to get the sound that you really like. So it's a great way to capture and remember how I set my mic up. And if you can, set up a dedicated space to record so you don't have to recreate the wheel every time. And just know my microphone works best when I sit in this location, this far away, and don't touch my mic. I should have consistent sound week to week, episode to episode, because I'm not changing everything and I'm not resetting up and tearing down every time that I record. It's by following these 4 techniques, you can have achieve a clearer, more higher quality vocal recording. And this is going to minimize unwanted plosives and sibilants and can save you money in the sense that you are not going to have to re-record or do expensive edits to replace and fix something that you could fix in the recording. So this is pre-production edits that you're doing by just being better on the microphone. As you listen to this, and you're like, "Hey, Dave, I don't even know if I'm good at this." Then how about you and I get on a Zoom call together? Have your mic set up on your end, and let's go through this together. And I'll give you feedback live on the screen on maybe what you can do to sound better on the microphone. Remember, every mic is different, and some mics just aren't good for some voices. It's true. You can't just go because Joe Rogan has a mic that mic's going to sound good for everybody. It might not. It might not suit your voice. And a more expensive mic or a cheaper mic might be a better option for you for your voice. Remember, your voice is your fingerprint. There's only one like you. So to think that there's one microphone that suits everyone is absurd. And if somebody tells you the only mic you should buy is this mic, this person is what we call wrong, because there is not just one mic that suits everyone. That's terrible. That's not right. So there's a good choice for you out there. You need to spend some time figuring it out. And the other thing I would suggest as a starting point, if you're not sure where to start with a microphone, is, again, YouTube University is great. But what I would suggest to you is find a podcast where you think that host sounds like you. Okay? I'll give you an example. I'm a bass player, and I know that I play the bass similar to the bass player for Lenny Kravitz. Now, Lenny plays bass, but he also has a bass player. I sound like him. So if somebody said, what kind of bass do you play? How do you play? I sound like Lenny Kravitz. That's kind of how I play bass. So I already have a sense in my mind of what I sound like based on what resonates with me. Listen to a podcast and listen to the host and go, their voice, their cadence, how they talk, that sounds like me. And maybe someone else can tell you then, if you're not sure. And they'll tell you, you sound like this person. And then reach out to that host and say, tell me what kind of microphone you're using, because I think our voices are similar. I'm sure they'll answer the question, and I'm sure they'd love to help you. That's one simple way to avoid buying mics you never use or spending too much money. If you have any questions about this, anything, really, howtopodcast.ca is my website. There's a calendar link right there. You don't even have to ask permission. Just jump in, create a calendar invite, and you and I can get together and talk about microphones, how to use them, or anything to do with podcasting. And how do I know how to use a mic? I've been doing music for 45 years. I've spent time in studios and on stage. I know how these things work, and I know how to help you. So if you have any questions at all, I'd love to help you. Let's get you confident on the mic. Let's practice together. Let's show you how to use your mic correctly so you can get the best results. So you're less frustrated and more creative, and you're spending less time fixing something that you could fix right from the beginning by using your mic properly. Any questions? howtopodcast.ca. We'd love to talk to you. Thanks for listening. Keep podcasting, keep being you, as we need more of you in this world. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the entirety of the episode, including this part. You know what? A lot of people leave right now. So we'll let them leave. Give them a second to go. Okay, now it's just you and me. We have our meetups that we do for the How to Podcast series. We do them during the week, and we also do them on Saturdays. So twice a week, you have the opportunity to meet other podcasters, just like you. Some people have just started. Some people haven't even released an episode yet. Some have been doing it forever. And we get together and talk podcasting. We want to help you in community to continue with your show, to start your show, to grow your show. So come and meet listeners of this show in one space on meetup.com. Again, through howtopodcast.ca, you'll see the links. It's completely free to join. Come whenever you have an opportunity to come. There's no commitment. You don't have to sign any waivers. You can just come join us. Come join the conversation. We'd love to have you there, because the only thing that's going to make these meetups better is you being there. So I'm hoping you will say yes. And you'll say, Dave, I'm tired of podcasting by myself. I wish there were people I could connect with that are fellow podcasters and share my frustrations with guests who ghost me, and my editing software is crapping out on me, and I'm just having this hard time. I'm just having a hard time coming up with podcasts, episodes, and titles, and all the things, and social media. Wouldn't it be great to get in a room with other podcasters and share best practices and learn? 3 of our 4 Saturdays every month are themed. So you have a topic, but that last Saturday of every month is open question and answer. Ask anything. Come meet a podcaster. Come enjoy the podcasting community through howtopodcast.ca. Come to our meetups. Can't wait to see you there.